Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
All right, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? Like it's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Chutes and Ladders podcast.
Chutes and Ladders, AEW, the ones that got away. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
All right. Listen, when we started this podcast, we said that we were going to shoot from the hip. Some of these episodes is fan-friendly. Some of these episodes are probably not going to be as much. I can already throw out this disclaimer. If anyone is a hardcore AEW fan, yeah, maybe a little offended about this particular episode because we are going to discuss AEW wrestlers that have gotten away. What are your initial thoughts, Des?
We're just speaking the truth. These are facts. And, if it hurts people's feelings as an AEW fan, it is what it is. So, this is just coming from us as overall wrestling fans, just saying how it is. So, yeah, this will be fun.
Absolutely. And listen, we felt like we had to address this because... We're actually going to recap who has left, why these guys have left, and gals, and what other superstars are potential ship jumpers. And this is very topical, as we've seen just in the last few weeks, which brings us up to our first wrestler we're going to discuss, which is Ricky Starks. So what are your initial thoughts on this? Because I have mine.
Well, we called this a very long time ago, and I just think it's funny that Ricky disappeared like a year ago. What really started rumors was he was at Royal Rumble 2023, or 2024 with Cody. And just hanging out with his guys. He was at Mania. He's just backstage a lot with a lot of NXT and WWE people, but we didn't see him a lot on AEW. And then he was losing a lot of matches and then just trickled away. So how can these rumors not be true about him just writing out the contract and going to NXT? And then what do you know? We hear some whispers of some people that may be showing up, and he shows up in the crowd, and the crowd goes wild. And that tells you something. So, this isn't a surprise. When I saw him, I was like, it's about damn time. And I know his career is probably going to catapult like the rest of them.
Yeah, that's actually what sticks out to me is when he was on NXT, okay? The crowd absolutely erupted. And that goes and just shows you something because when it comes down to it, what makes someone over is how they identify with the crowd because they know that obviously leads to sales. So now I guess let's get into the why of this. If I had to guess, it's probably just because he didn't feel like he was maximizing his potential because it says a lot, okay? It says a lot that if a guy left the main roster of AEW to go to basically the minor league of WWE with, now granted, I'm sure there's going to be a point in time where he gets catapulted to the main roster, but that does say a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is Ricky was doing pretty well with AEW for a good bit of time, and he was a champion, but I feel like it's just the ongoing thing that they do is they give you a run and then they don't know what else to do with you. And then they put you to the side and then you're just not booked. And I feel like a lot of it is creative. And yeah, they're probably guaranteed a lot of money for X amount of time, but money can only do so much if you want a long-standing career. And I feel like you would have to, if you can get in with a company like WWE, why not? I feel like that would be everybody's end goal almost. So,
Sure.
yeah.
100% with you on that. Okay, the next guy who's currently your wallpaper, and wow, is he hot right now, is Penta. What do you have to say about him? I know you love him.
Penta is awesome. I've been lucky enough to see him live with AEW, and he's amazing. And I know that there were rumors too about AEW was writing out his contract and wouldn't let him go, even though he was already to be signed with WWE. They were just waiting for the deadline. And what do you know? He shows up. He's in Rumble. He's in matches almost every week, and people are putting him over. And what I think is so funny is before Raw, they do something called Main Event, where they do a men's and a women's like dark match kind of thing. And they never really show it on social media or any kind of highlights. But he did one with Grayson Waller last Monday, and the WWE social media team decided to go ahead and put it on like YouTube and do the full match to show everybody how good it was. And I'm like, they never put Main Event out on anything, but Penta is hot. So come on now.
Yeah, figuratively speaking as well. Now that being said, what would you say the why behind this is? Would you just say he just want to go WWE that bad?
It could be that. I feel like he was only booked for, being a certain kind of character with AEW. I just feel like they put you in one box and don't really let you evolve as a character, I guess. And I feel like that's what a majority of these are, is just the creativity and the longevity of their storyline.
And this definitely has applied to other wrestlers we discussed in the past. That is for sure.
Weird.
Okay, rolling on. Ethan Page. This one's a little more interesting to me, but let me hear what you have to say first.
I like Ethan Page. I like him. I watch his blogs because he's a toy hunter. So that's why I like him. He's been wrestling for like a good 10 years. And I actually saw him at an NXT, one of those coconut matches here locally in Jacksonville just a couple of weeks ago. But he was one that I felt was going to switch as soon as he was able to, because he slowly disappeared. But I just felt like he just wasn't properly booked again with AEW. He would show up and be consistent for a couple of months, and then he'd disappear and come back with another faction. And it just didn't flow well. So yeah, but what I think is cool, he signed on to NXT like in May, and then 2 months later he was NXT champion. So that just shows you, if they book you well and the audience is feeling you and you have a good fan base, you can really excel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And to kind of go off what you just said, yeah, that's another thing with me as well. Like all the guys and gals we're about to talk about, it's obviously a consistent theme of, look, they weren't necessarily booked properly. Now, granted, are they going to get more money in WWE? Definitely more notoriety. Yeah, absolutely. But you would think that in the real world, because both of us have full-time jobs, if some of your top producers are contemplating leaving, I mean, you do everything in your power to keep them, because otherwise there is no company.
Right.
And one by one, this is why we called it the ones that got away, because one by one, some of their top talent's leaving, and I don't know if they have a solution for it. So
No, they don't, because they keep losing them.
yeah, speaking of which, another superstar who is white hot ever since she stepped foot in WWE is Jade. So let me hear what you have to say first.
I feel like I'm just repeating myself. It's literally, she walks into Rumble. It was rumors again of, where's Jade? And then she shows up, and now she was a tag team champ with Bianca, which is huge, and gets a pop because we already know who she is. And granted, yeah, she is a very strong woman, but I feel like there were other women on the WWE roster that could really take her and make it believable. And they built a storyline rather than with AEW, they just booked her as a champion and just let her beat everybody and didn't even bother to give her a challenge. Like, she literally had like squash matches like every week where I'm like, okay, this is going to be a 5-minute thing. And, I know she can do more, which this company is allowing her to do more.
Actually, you just touched on something. Now, that being said, how many other women could she have realistically feuded with where it would have made sense? Mariah May, Toni Storm, obviously. Maybe Britt Baker, but if she's squashing everybody else, like, then what division do you have?
Right. Like, they would literally, it would be just a never-ending cycle of, and then what do you have after a couple of months? Nothing. And then she becomes just someone holding a belt and nothing to do except run her mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't really have her lose at that point because you built her up for so long. So if she loses, it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was just a complete loss at the very beginning of her career there.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. All right. And the grand finale, the absolute hottest superstar in all of wrestling, whether it's WWE or AEW. This one is a head scratcher. Apparently, he was given equity in the company. To my knowledge, I honestly thought he co-founded it, but we're talking about Cody Rhodes. This one was a huge head scratcher. Now, granted, when he left WWE the first time, they were giving him ridiculous gimmicks, the Stardust, all that nonsense. But remember, that was a different regime at the time. But when he went to AEW, he was lighting it up. He was obviously having just these great matches. I honestly thought, I was like, wow, the fact that he's fitting so well is just amazing. But there were some rumors that he was potentially going to leave. And I honestly kind of just shoot them because, like, no, I don't see that happening. Why would he? If he's an EVP and has shares in the company, this one is the absolute just ultimate blow. And once Cody left, I honestly thought AEW was in trouble.
Yeah. I think when we first saw the beginning of AEW and Cody was the face and he was the champion, and it was just a lot of hope and really a lot of excitement, and money talks. And when Cody Rhodes was offered X amount of money, and I'm sure a deal of saying, hey, you come in within months, you're going to be one of our main eventers and a title holder. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to that. And I know Cody gets some heat from a lot of fans saying he's not a company guy. There's a couple of people that aren't company guys. But when you want success and, you want to be booked the right way and the money is decent, I don't really blame him sometimes. So, and look at him. He is a huge success right now. And I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest loss for Tony Khan, was the deal with Cody Rhodes. It is what it is. So,
absolutely. Now, and there are different reasons of why. Why do you think was the main reason? Do you think it's just mainly money or creative control? Maybe a combination of both?
I think it's a little bit of both at this point, because if you have a little bit of equity in the company, and you're one of the main eventers for the promotion, I feel like you've got a decent paycheck. And with Tony Khan's backing, I'm sure he had a very nice salary. But I feel like a lot of it was creative control too. Or maybe the agreements on bookings, because I know AEW has a little bit more leniency compared to WWE's. But maybe they didn't see eye to eye on certain things in business, and Cody was like, I'm out. Who knows?
So that being said, what are some other superstars that you think are going to jump ship in the future?
I have one that I've been talking about for a very long time. That stud Wardlow. I think he would be great on NXT or even WWE. We even said a potential feud with Braun Breaker would be really fun to see. Britt Baker, I think would be fun. I think once her contract runs out, I can see her potentially leaving. And even our free agent Malachi Black. So who knows? He may go back home to WWE. Those are a few that just pop up in my head, but Wardlow will be number one.
Absolutely. So I'm actually in agreement with you on all those. I will say, look, if they lose Mariah May, Will Ospreay, or Toni Storm, I think just close the doors. You're done.
They're idiots. They do that.
And that kind of rolls into final thoughts. What would you say are your final thoughts on this whole thing? It seems like it's not just one factor of why these guys have left. It seems to be a couple, but it seems a lot of it has to do with just creative control and just booking.
I think that's what it is at the end of the day is how do you want your career in this business and longevity? And if you do like that quality of life, because I do know that AEW, it is a little bit, I guess you get longer breaks. It's a little bit more comfortable and it eases you into the business, I guess. But it's not also going to guarantee you a long run. We're not saying that AEW is bad. It's just they run their business a completely different way compared to someone that's been the top dog for 40 years and have created superstars and icons in not just wrestling, but in sports entertainment, period.
Yeah.
So it's business, and if you are going to be pushed and you want that to be that superstar, I mean, why wouldn't you not jump ship to WWE and NXT?
Yeah, 100% with you. And that actually wraps up this episode. What are your thoughts? Please DM us at the Chutes and Ladders. If you're a hardcore AEW guy, be easy on us. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
All right. Until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Bye, friends.
Chutes and Ladders. Follow us for more content